So we're go. Welcome everybody to our first presentation, and this is Capsule Group. We're looking at the Capsule Academy, and we have our topic here, which is investing in foreign currency, hedging, inflation, and devaluation, which is attempting to achieve our goal 5. Now, the first thing is what I want us to say. Since the Naira started in 1972, officially was released in 1973 to the dollar, and the Naira was actually stronger than the dollar. We can all see the screen, I mean, research, please note if you can see the screen. Okay, good. So historically, the Naira was stronger than the dollar. However, between 1980, 1990, and present rate today, in 1990, the Naira became 7.39 to the dollar, and then, black market rates had begun to pop up then. Now, by 2000, we see how it begins to devalue. Now, there's a side note I want us to see. Between 1990 and 2020, the Naira has been depreciating to the dollar at an average annual rate of 14.03%. That simply means that every year, at least 14.03% of the Naira has been devalued. So to understand that keeping money only in Naira, every year you are losing at least 14% of that money in value. So it is not a wise decision to stay only in Naira, and which is why we're having this webinar. So you're welcome, everybody. For those who are just joining us, we just begun not so long ago. So feel free to carry on and follow us. Okay. Now to the next thing. Why do we need to earn in foreign currency? One, there are different reasons why foreign currency is good. It's a hedge against inflation and devaluation. That simply means that in Nigeria, inflation presently is about 12.7% thereabout. Now, it means if you had 100 Naira in January, by the end of December, your 100 Naira would have lost 12% in purchasing power. But keeping your money in dollars or in foreign currency will allow you at least hedge against that measure of devaluation. The dollar historically, before this global pandemic that we're facing now, has been stable at about 4% annually. So it has been an opportunity for people to migrate funds into dollar-denominated accounts. So it is important for us to understand that. Now, the dollar is relatively, or foreign economies are relatively stable. For example, US, UK, Switzerland, they have lower political risk, political instability. For example, a government can wake up in Nigeria and say, we're no longer using this particular way to trade. We're no longer going to allow people to trade freely as before. And these instabilities affect our economy. Everybody begins to run. Historically, the Nigerian Mutual Fund, which has been an opportunity for a lot of people, has been trading very high. In 2015, if you invested in treasury bills, mutual fund, you'll be getting rates of between 18 to 22%. Then CBN woke up one day and said, no, we're not going to give people that much. We're going to reduce it presently to what rate it is, below 5%. So for the first time in about 4 years, the interest rates, or the ROI you get from investing in treasury bills, is actually lower than inflation. So if you do treasury bills today, you're actually losing money. Another importance of investing in foreign currency is a higher purchasing ability. If those of us who are members of the group already remember during our AGM, I talked about the fact that the Naira will soon be devalued. For people that were able to make moves fast, they would have been able to purchase dollars at a rate of 360 thereabouts. Presently, if you have done that, you've been you have your money in dollars. Say you made a $1,000 transaction, you've automatically add an excess of at least between 20 to 40 naira, because on the official rate, it is now 380. So the CBN governor can wake up in one day and say we're devaluing the Naira, and earning or saving in foreign currency allows you earn better. Now I put a side note here, the Zimbabwean dollar example. You know, when the Zimbabwean government started in 1980, they were doing fairly well, but then because of bad government policy, and I hope we can all hear me, because of bad government policy, they removed the black farmers, removed white farmers, put in black farmers, and they just decided to run the government this way they wanted. Inflation went so bad that the US dollar to their currency became as bad as $1 to 2.6 billion Zimbabwean dollar. You know, the same way we say that right now that the Nigerian Naira is $1 to 380 Naira, it went as bad as $1 to 2.6 billion Zimbabwean dollars. And this reason is they allowed the economy to become so bad. Now, as at March 2020 in Zimbabwe today, the inflation rate is 500%. You know, we are talking about 11% in Nigeria, and we are advising people to let's begin to edge against this. But presently, March 2020, at one point, the government of Zimbabwe said, you know what, we're not going to even publish this anymore. We're not going to publish official statistics records because it was so bad. So we can't allow for bad economic decisions of different economies or government to affect our individual finances. So we must take action. Now, if you see the side note that I put here, to beat inflation, we must invest money so that it earns a higher after-tax return than the inflation rate. And this is the real rate of return. Now, for example, if you're going to invest in Nigeria today, you must invest such that whatever ROI you are getting, that means return on investment, must be higher than 12%, which is the inflation rate, after tax has been deducted. So if you're not getting rate of up to 17, 18% in Nigeria, you're simply losing money. Now, there are few safe investment options, but this is not what we're doing here. What we're doing here is for earning in foreign currency, because this is one of our goals in Capsule. Okay, so let's move ahead. Examples of foreign currency investments. I hope we can all hear me. Now, we're going to share briefly for about 20-25 minutes. I have opportunity to take questions. I will stop sharing the screen. We'll take 1 or 2 questions, and then we'll pause before we move into the next session. So, examples of foreign currency investments. Number 1, and I put that first because I love it so much. Everywhere, real estate is a field that the Lord has blessed. So real estate is one. Now, one way to earn in foreign currency is to buy up real estate in various countries and economies of the world. For example, you can buy in Canada, you can buy in Australia, you can buy in US, UK. The only challenge I have with buying in UK is that they tax anything. Their taxes go as high as 40, 45%. And if you don't understand some of those tax regimes, you may not know how to effectively make savings. The best way to make savings with even tax, a little diversion, is to buy real estate as a company so that you can make out expenses, and then whatever is going to be taxed will be little or less. If you buy real estate in the UK as an individual, you're going to pay more. Okay, but the next challenge that will immediately bring up is that it's expensive. So we have a plan for this in-house. There's a way to break down real estate into fractional pieces rather than look at the whole of the real estate. For example, a small apartment can go as low as $100,000. Not everybody can afford that, but there are ways to pool funds together so that you can begin to buy a portion of that real estate. And when it is managed by a real estate agent, and everybody gets a percentage based on what they have invested. Now, the next is mutual funds and bonds. Now, mutual funds are basically in every country, every economy. Bonds are available. Now, even the Nigerian government, in order to attract investors, puts out bonds. For example, we have the Nigerian Euro bond, which they put out to attract investment in dollars, and the rates are fair. Now, because, like we said, that the economy of countries like the US is fairly stable, we need to know that the investment rate is less. Now, before, people didn't used to pay more attention to foreign currency investment in mutual funds because the rate was between 6 to 7%. But right now, the Nigerian Naira money market fund is about 5%. So if you invest in Nigerian money market, you're earning 5 to 6%, whereas you have inflation risk of about 12%. So effectively, at the end of the year, you are losing between 6 to 7%. However, if you put the money in dollars and you invest in mutual fund, you're going to be making between 6 to 7% annually, and the inflation risk is way lower, about 4%. So it's safe to invest in bonds, and you can get bonds that go as high as 10, 11%, and then treasury bills. Another example is shares, stocks. Now, the challenge with shares and stocks is that in Nigeria, when you buy shares, a lot of people are afraid of shares. A lot of people don't want to do shares because the market seems to be in a little bit of a mess. But there are certain particular market shares that you can actually buy or take hold in. And when you invest in those particular shareholding units, one thing you actually get is capital dividend yield. So in Nigeria, one of the advantages of investing in stocks is capital yield. However, in investing in the US stocks, what you get is capital appreciation, not dividend yield. So most Nigerian companies pay dividend yield. That means you invest, you buy maybe GTB or you buy Nestle, and you at the end of the year, they declare dividend and they say, oh, we are going to pay you 2.5 Naira for every share you hold. That is dividend yield. Abroad, what they do is capital appreciation. So, for example, Netflix is presently trading at around 400 to the dollar, and it can go as high as, say, 900. That was very good for Tesla. Tesla owned by Elon Musk, which rose recently. Now, because of this present season, with COVID and a lot of things that are happening, this is a great time to buy shares. However, share prices, particularly abroad, can be on the steep end. For example, Amazon, Amazon, they do sales. The cost of one share is about $2,043 per share. Alphabet, the founding company for Google, their share is up over $1,000. So there are apps that allow you earn from these shares and purchase fractional part of the shares, similar to the way I explained REITs in real estate. You can buy a portion of the share. Okay, so the final example is earnings from exportation. It's good to export commodities. That's one good way to earn in foreign currency. Look at agri, look at manufacturing, look at production. What are the cheap items or the affordable items that we can work on? These are areas that we should all look at for investment. Now, I put a side note. I put a side note. Now, the side note I put is that we should monetize our skills. Another way to monetize our skills is through online freelancing websites like Fiverr, Upwork. Those ways, it allows us earn in dollars. Do you understand? We're going to pause soon. We're not near the end, but someone commented I couldn't hear me. I hope you can hear me now. Just let me know if you can hear me via the chat option. I think I muted everybody so that the person iPhone 6s, I don't know who that is. So if you can hear me, please let me know. So pending that time, I'm going to continue. Now, the next thing I'd like to see is that what are the ways to earn in foreign currency? Now, there are simple dollar denominated mutual funds that we can earn in foreign currency, and I've listed them here. Now, the side note I want us to see is that all of these are asset managers. These are just few of the asset managers. United Capital Fund, which is Invest Now, the NG. Stanbic IBTC, they have their asset management. They have their asset management limited. We have Park Asset Management. We have FBN Quest. This is not everything. These are just a few. Now, one thing I want us to note is that a lot of them have minimum starting investment. They have their own rates. They have holding period, and they have different holding banks. I can't go into all of the details. For example, with Stanbic IBTC, the minimum start investment used to be $1,000, but because of the crash in Naira rates, a lot of people began to put their funds there, and they couldn't handle it anymore. They increased from $1,000 to $20,000 effective March 24. Now, their annual ROI is about 7% annually. Their minimum holding period is 6 months. Now, their holding bank is Citibank in London. So you see, for a lot of these people, and then they have their also Standard Chartered and Citibank. Now, a lot of them, if you're going to open your own DOM account, it is safe to open with Standard Chartered, and then if you can also access an offshore account with Citibank to avoid transfer charges. Now, I've just taken Stanbic IBTC as a case. So these are, of course, these slides will be available at the end for us to all go through and then do our own independent research later. Okay, now these are apps that can help us earn USD in Naira. Cowrywise, Piggyvest, Trove, Chaka, Bamboo, RiseVest, or Rise now. For example, Cowrywise uses a holding bank, and they use United Capital, which I put before. But what they do is that they buy in bulk from United Capital and split it into slots. So for example, they allow you invest $100 in Cowrywise app. However, many things I want you to note here. For a lot of these applications, sometimes you should note for the rate at which they are buying. I think I will get into that. And then many of them will allow you invest in dollars, but when it comes to payout period, they will pay you in Naira, and they have various fees and charges. So these are applications that allow you earn USD right here from Naira. So there are things that we need to all note. Different one, check it out, each app, ask, check their terms and conditions, understand their fees. Bamboo has about 1.5% transactional fees, standard transfer fees. Let's check out all of these. Some of them are good at helping you to buy shares. Some are better at helping you to buy mutual funds. So let's conduct our own measure of independent research before we come up with a final one. And I think we're coming gradually to the end. Now, tips and things to note. 1, CBN rules and regulations. CBN rules and regulations. For example, the CBN has stopped the sale of dollars to local BDC. So you cannot go to your local Aboki Malam and the CBN is no longer supplying them with dollars. Why? Oil prices have dropped. They don't want people to have access So they're trying to protect our reserve. They don't want to have to devalue, which I believe is inevitable. They're trying to protect the foreign reserves, which is fine. But right now, there is a dollar scarcity in Nigeria. In session 2, which is for members only, we're going to address our solutions and how we intend to tackle this forward. Another CBN regulation is you can only transfer money that was transferred in. For example, you go to the Aboki guy and you buy your dollars and then take it to your DOM account and then you put it there that, oh yeah, now let me pay the money in and transfer to my mutual fund. No, CBN says if the money was paid in cash, it can only be withdrawn in cash. It has to be an original inflow that was transferred in for you to be able to transfer it out. So a lot of these regulations are making things a little difficult for local Nigerians to access FX. Okay, now another thing I want us to note, remember I mentioned different apps. Now from Carry Rice to Piggyvest to Trove, Chaka, Bamboo, different apps. Note their purchasing price. For example, they will say, yes, buy dollars from us. When it was 360, some of them have given it as high as 401, 405. So right now, it will go as high as 415. Understand the rate of FX sale in those apps before you commit to it, because you want to invest and get 6% in, say, a year, and then you're already paying 5% in the rate at which they are selling to you. Look at it back and forth. Unless a devaluation is looming, we need to check and see which are the best options that we have. Now, the next thing is that another way to access dollars, because dollars has become very scarce, the legitimate way to access it is if you are traveling, you need it for BTA. But because of the COVID-19, people are not traveling. So the CBN is trying to save up its dollars reserve. Now, another way to access it is to buy cryptocurrency in Naira. For example, there's an app that uses cryptocurrency. And it looks like there's a page we missed because there's something I should have said about cryptocurrency. Then buy cryptocurrency in Naira. You're not trading. You sell immediately and you pay to your DOM. So you sell in dollars and you pay to your DOM. That to your DOM account. That means that's one way with which you can generate access dollars. So just before we go to the end, there's a place I missed. Yes, from production, examples of foreign currency investment. There are other types that I did not mention. Two types. Type 1 is Forex trading. Now, these are foreign currency investments. However, we are not recommending them because of the risk level. Before you invest, there's a principle: do not invest in what you do not understand. Forex trading is high risk and speculative. So you can say you want to be a Forex trader. You're going to wake up, you see people are buying from Japan. You're going to wake up in Japanese time to trade. If you do not understand it fully, do not invest. Cryptocurrency is another legit. See, Forex trading and crypto, they are both legit, but they are high risk. It's not a government regulated. In fact, there's still argument on who is the real person that started the old blockchain, the miner, Nagamoto, and all of that. They don't know the real person. So it's legit, but you must understand. So like I put here, it is important for everyone to invest only in what you know and understand. Then know your risk levels and limits. Do not put all your eggs in this basket. And with this, I'll go to the final page where we were. Investing in foreign currency is great, but do not put all your eggs in this basket. Cash is king in this season. Cash is king. Now, my personal recommendation is between 20 to 40%. So do not take all your investments and push them into dollars. No, because even the dollar is struggling internationally, but because of COVID-19, that's why things are like that. We believe it will stabilize in the days to come. However, 20%, 30%, 40%, there are also other investment options that we can consider. But this is what we have had to share. We have another session which is in-house for those that were already members. where we discuss what our plans are and how we intend to go about achieving this, because this investing in foreign currency is just one of our goals. So if you have any questions, please let's feel free to ask. If we don't, we would have to stop soon. So I'm going to stop the share and unmute a lot of us or all of us so that to allow us ask questions. Thank you very much.
Okay. Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. Okay, so mine is not a question per se. I just want to know if you would share the slides with us as members now on the group page.
Yes, the slides will be available. Both this and the next, all slides will be available to members. But if we have visitors who will need to access it, you can send a message to the group email and you will get it. I'm going to drop that now, the group email now, so we can have access to the slides. Okay, the email is there.
Okay,
Nice
okay.
was much.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Is there another question? In absence of any questions, in 5 minutes, we're going to have to. Okay, looks like there are no questions. So I'm going to take a quick recap. Can I mute everybody and take a quick recap, because I see people are just joining us. Okay, I'm muting everybody and taking a quick recap. Okay, so we start here. For people that are just joining us, we say this is Capzil, investing in foreign currency. We're going to have to stop in a couple of minutes. We've gone through all of this. We looked at the historical rate of Naira to the dollar, and we saw that the Naira has been depreciating at an average annual rate of 14%. So it is safe to hedge to the dollar. Now, we've also looked at importance of earning in foreign currency, and the keynote for us was to beat inflation, we must invest money so that it returns a higher after-tax return, which is why we're investing in foreign currency. Then we've listed out examples, types of foreign currency investments, mutual funds, real estate, stocks and shares, and then production. Then also, we can also look at monetizing our skills through freelancing websites. If you have a skill, you can monetize that skill. Then I listed out investments that are high risk. So we cannot recommend to the average individual because of their risk nature. So that's Forex trading and crypto. They're legit investment, but they are high risk. Then simple ways to earn in foreign currency. I listed out these 4 components and said we should watch out for the minimum start investment, the annual ROI, minimum holding period. I use Stanbic as an example. Their present minimum start investment is now $20,000. You earn about 6 to 7%. Their holding period minimum is 6 months, and their holding bank is Standard Chartered. These are apps that help you earn USD in Naira. So you would have access to this if you're interested. We'll send the slides. Now, we also talked about CBN rules. One major rule is the fact that purchasing, you can only access your dollars if it is transferred in. They stop purchasing to local BDC. And then note the rate of sale of the Forex in the apps. Another way to access dollars, because it has become scarce, is to buy cryptocurrency in Naira. You can use apps like Luno, sell in dollars, convert to dollars, and then pay the dollars to your DOM account. Then a great caveat that I noted, investing in foreign currency is great, but don't put all your eggs in this basket. Cash is king. So we're going to end if there are no questions. And I've said that my personal recommendation is between 20 to 40% of your total investment should be in foreign currency. Cash is king. So with that, we come to the end. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We're going to have to go to our second session, which is in-house and not for everyone. If you're interested in having a copy of the recording and you have a question, please let's just put that out there. So I'll stop sharing and seeing around. Okay, do we have yes. Okay, let me try and unmute us so that we have Akonji has a question. Okay, Femi Akonji, please, you can go now. I'm not sure. Hello, Femi. Yeah. Hi. Yeah, good evening. I can hear you.
I want to just ask, we talked about the investing and all that, but taking into note the COVID issue and the way the economy is doing, is it the best time to invest?
I can't hear you.
And like start investing.
Can you type that in? I can't hear that. Please, if you need to get the slides, I've put it there. Send a message to with your email. Send a message with your email to the group email. I'm typing that in again. That's admin@capsule.group.com. So send a message with your email to that email. We'll send these slides across to you because everybody still needs to do their own measure of research. Femi, I'm waiting for your questions. I didn't get it. Please, you can go.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to ask: is this looking at the situation of things in the world and in the country, and the way the economy is dwindling? When is the best time to start investing in dollars? Do we have to wait till the rates drop, or that's my question actually?
That's the reason. Thank you for that question. That's the reason I started by showing us historical comparison of the Naira to the dollar. Every year, the Naira has been losing 14% compounded annually. So the rates will not get better. And personally, I was going to share this in the group. A recession is coming. The best time to have invested in dollars was 20 years ago. The next best time is now. Now, like I said, I'm not saying, oh, this is the new thing. Everybody rush into this. No, I'm saying we need a balanced and planned approach, which we will come to Femi. But to answer for the sake of everybody, this is a season where you need to learn cost averaging. So buy your dollar a little here, a little there, a little here, a little there. So over time, the rate at which you've bought it will have averaged out. If it goes more expensive, you'll be glad. If you reduce it because you are still buying, it will reduce your your range of sale, of cost of purchase. Do we understand?
Yeah. Thank you very much.
So we're going to have to say thank you to everybody. Do we have any other questions? I've put it out there. We are going to move to another group presentation. In the absence of any other questions, thank you guys. I hope you learned a thing or two or half a thing. Thank you very much, Adetunji. Thank you. Those messaging me privately, thank you. Lekon Adebayo, Olamide Osho, you can get the slides by following that. Thank you very much. Okay, with this, we come to the end. Thank you so much. I'll watch out for other webinars that will come out in different areas. But thank you, guys. Thank you.